Happy Wednesday, Valerie Hunt, RunRx, and we got some great questions today. So every Wednesday I come on and I answer questions about your running, especially because I know a lot of you have been going through we have on our YouTube channel, RunRx YouTube, a 30-day reboot, which takes you through how to get started on the skill, and then it's got skill, strength, and self-care, which is really what three things go together to help you with your run. And if you have any kind of twinge or something going on in your run, you're feeling a little bit of pain, you can go on our website, runrx.fit, and take the free quiz. And basically it's going to ask you questions about what you're feeling in your run and then give you a tip on here's something you can try. So today I had some great questions that I'm going to answer right off the bat, and they were all connected. So it was really nice. And I'll tell you the questions up front so then you know what we're about to talk about. So the Gait cycle itself is, for running, is you're in the running, what's called the running pose, meaning this is the figure 4, it's commonly referred to. From the hip down, you're making a 4-like shape. And from that pose, from this pose, you're basically balanced on your foot. And in this moment, you free fall. Just as one unit, your whole body just goes woo, and then you woo, pull your foot up to basically catch your body, right? Your body fell, and you caught it. And what happens is it's a continuous game of catch. And what's happening? Because one foot touches down as the other one picks up, right? So in running, you only have one foot on the ground. And that one foot, in that, hopefully, very few frames on the ground, as soon as it touches the ground, you sense that, right? You wait for it, you sense it, and you simply pull the foot off. The best part about the Gait cycle is that the fall element is for everybody. And what I mean by that is that people will say to me, you know, how do I run faster? Or why am I stuck, you know, at this place? And first I say, well, let's work on first just learning what acceleration is, and it's gravity. And so we're like, oh, so that was a big aha for me when I started. We can all benefit from standing in our running pose, because when you stand on your support foot, you're getting strength in your foot, you're getting balance, right? There's a lot of good stuff going on just for you practicing holding your running pose, and you don't have to be running. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their run is where is their upper body, right? We see bending, we see this. So I'm like, there's so many great things that will correct in your run simply by starting to hold your body correctly, right? So always start with that. Gravity's free. You can practice falling anytime, anywhere. So then we get to pull. So pull is the action. Pull is my job, right? Your job is to pull your foot up from the ground. So I want to be ready for work. As a runner, you've got to know, right? You're prepared to work. You're going to run. So in order to be prepared to work, I have to be very comfortable with holding this line of shoulders over hips, and I have to be ready to show up, meaning as soon as that body starts to fall forward, your body weight, 68% hips and up, right? So as soon as that body weight travels, pull. So it's a very precise timing, but you practice the timing when you're not running. So that's the best part. And I tell people that all the time, because I'm like, you cannot be practicing and learning and then trying to take it out all at the same time. So practice, you know, like if you've ever played a sport, you go to practice. Like it's not even a thought. People that play sports, they don't question that they practice. And then runners are like, I just run. You got to practice too, right? You have to get your body connected with what it's trying to do, right? Even the best athletes in the world practice. They practice their movement. So that's what you need to do. So the first question also, so that was the number one. The main questions then become twofold. One, in order to pull the foot, my knees have to be bent. And this is, again, a really good conversation, because when we're standing still, most of you, without any awareness, right now are probably locking out their knees. And bending your knees is a conscious effort, especially when you're standing still. So keep that in mind. Most people stand because why do you think that people stand with their legs straight? Because they feel solid. And by the way, it's unfortunate, but I see people stand like this all the time. And then they're like, my hip hurts when I run. Like, we need stability in our hips, right? It's very important. So hip strength is huge in running. Really need to do hip-specific exercises. Very simple, effective exercises just with your body weight, like glute bridges. Very simple, very effective. Standing in pose, very simple, very effective. So one of the questions I got was, when I bend my knees, my calves hurt and my knees hurt. So two things are going to happen. So remember I said 68% of my body weight is from my hip to my head. And by the way, your head weighs a lot. So you're balancing your body weight right now on both feet, right? But your feet are like smaller, like your body tapers down, especially when you're standing in your running pose. You literally have more weight up at the, it's like a reverse triangle. And so think about if I bend my knees and take 68% of my weight and press down, that hurts me too. You see what I mean? I just took my weight and went, And that, by the way, 95% pressure on the outside of my kneecaps. So, I don't want to do that. So I've got to start to think right now, how can I bend, like right now, can you look down at yourself and just see that you can actually go bend your knees, and it doesn't affect your height. You see, we're still the same height. So I have never said, and I want you to hear, when we bend our knees, it's simply release. This is locked, this is released. So if I'm feeling pressure on the knee or even the calf, you're taking your body weight and you're literally pressing down. We want to, from now, if you would think, how can I unweigh myself, right? From my hip to my head. Hold this up. Hold your chest up. Hold yourself up. Even when you're walking. I always tell people, like, you're proud to be here, right? I don't want to walk into a room like this, right? I want to walk into a room with my ears, shoulders, hips in line. My knees are bent. I'm ready for action. So this by itself, guys, is called the ready stance. And it's in every single movement of sport. There's some kind of ready stance. Their ready stance might look different. Say they're going to get ready to catch a ball. Their hips might be further back, but it doesn't matter. The ready stance is your body understands there's going to be movement. Isn't that neat? Once this joint is allowed to be free, your body's ready to move. Isn't that cool? It's like you don't ever stand with your elbows locked, right? Never once have I seen anyone go, okay, standing. And they lock, no. Let that elbow be free. Let your knee be free. This is important. So being with a bent knee just means my knees are relaxed, right? But by the way, yes, it's conscious in the beginning because you've been so comfortable with your knees locked. So in the beginning, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so painful. Now, just to be fair, I do this so often. This I use to stretch, but this is not comfortable for me either. It's like I'm sitting in a weird chair. So when we're standing in pose, I really kind of want to stay the same height, but I'm bending my knees. And I'm making what's called an S-like shape. And the S-like shape, because I am not, I am a compact spring. So this is really important because to maintain this S-like shape, I really like for people to do what's called a ball of foot hop. So if you try to shrug a little bit and you maintain that shape, meaning my knee really stays in the same spot. I don't, like this is called jumping, and ouch, right? If you jump your run, whew, there goes your calves, there's your plantar, there's your hamstring. Those knees are not having fun if you try to jump your run. So hopping is unweighting. See, I'm just taking my body weight, and right now, where am I taking it? Up. The knee stays bent. It's not extending at all, and it's not compressing. It's just holding. I'm holding my S-like shape. And this is very comfortable. So when you're running, this is the foundation of your run, is that ball of foot hop. We're not hopping when we run either, keep that in mind. But right now, where am I going? Nowhere, because I'm just standing still. So that element of the up and down, when we practice that little hop, is your spring forward. So this is really important, and why you have to have the knees bent is because if I have a leg straight, I can't pull my foot. I can lift my hip, see, but I can't pull my foot. The hamstring cannot work once the leg is straight. So now you've got quads, hips, lower back. See what I mean? We're not using the hamstring. So if my leg is straight and I'm out for a run, then what's going to happen is if my leg is straight and I try to take this leg forward, which is what most of you guys are doing, then you're going to have this. And then what happens is this. Which way is the leg going to travel? That way. Now, once it's in the air, the hamstring will bring it. Because your hamstring's really nice to do that for you. However, because you first extended, it's going to pay. Meaning, like, once I've extended, the only way that hamstring can really come back is through what's called an active contraction. So it's a kick. This is a hamstring kick versus pull. And if say I'm here and and my knee is bent, watch what the hamstring does if I just close the leg. You see? If I do nothing but pull, the ankle will travel under my hip because that's the correct movement of the hamstring in running versus kicking. So let's really talk about pull for just a second, because the knee bend is the start. See? You start with this S-like shape. You start with this little hop. And if I'm here hopping and I say to you, I'll face you for a second, just change sides. Like, here I am hopping on both feet. Hop on one foot, hop on the other. Hop on one foot, hop on the other. You probably now hop singles. Single, single. You see? It's more comfortable to work with the hamstring when you're just feeling a nice little hop. So then this is like how we start the practice, is just the sensation. So then, standing still again, just pull the foot up. So then we're like, what am I using to pull? Well, I'm using my hamstring. So this is my hamstring. My hamstring closes the leg. So first I have to connect with my hamstring is what's actually doing the pulling part. But everyone's like, Someone said, I get what you're saying, but it feels lighter for me to pick up my foot with my knee. So let's just talk about that for a second. So if I pick up my foot with my knee, you're right, it does feel lighter. However, I'm not imposed. And the problem here is if I pick up my foot with my knee, right, and you can do it. How many high knees have you done in your life? It drives me crazy, right? High knees is unfortunately the #1 exercise people use for running, and it's like hip flexor, quad, hip flexor, quad. Where's the hamstring? Your running muscle is your hamstring. So if you're thinking, well, this feels a lot lighter, okay, but then if you're going to run and you're going to do a high knee, how are you going to fall? You can't. You're just sticking your feet out in front of you. So yeah, it feels light to pull my foot up, but now my back is being compromised because now, unfortunately, the job of your hip flexor and quad in running is to hold your shoulders over hips. So if I'm asking my hip flexor to do work, it can't do its job. So you're literally running like this, putting weight on your lower back and your hip. And I'm exaggerating, but that's what's going on in your body. 1,500 steps a mile. So if you're saying to yourself, this feels light, it's just because you've done that over and over. It's a pattern you're comfortable with, okay? Because it feels just as light to pull with your hamstring. There's no sensation of difference, especially in place. So guys, the foot should feel light always. And when you're running, you're only pulling 2% of your body weight. So if you feel heavy legs and running, that's your first sign. Think, well, if my legs are heavy, then I'm not pulling. You see, I'm landing. My foot's coming down. So if you would get comfortable with first, practice pulling and connect with your hamstring, right? And if you make a little bit of a mistake, you make a little bit of a mistake. Standing in place. This is why we do gait analysis for 12 weeks in my membership. I watch you run, I watch you pull, I watch you stand in pose, I watch you hop, and then I watch you run and check in until we make sure that perception is developed. But for yourself, doing it on your own, and on the reboot, I give you these check-ins. Check in, am I in pose? Is my thigh bone pointing down? Check. Is my ankle under my hip? Check. Check that you're in that figure 4. Check. Am I pulling with my hamstring, right? So that way when I'm here, I practice pulling. I'm already getting comfortable with the thought and the conversation. So now I'm asking you to pull. And when you pull, you've got to pull your foot up, ankle up, under hip, up, up. But the sensation itself during running, because it's going to be much quicker, and I'm only pulling my foot up from the ground when I run because the hamstring is incredible. The hamstring is amazing. We just never use it enough. We're going to use 10% active muscle contraction. In place, it's 100. When I'm standing here in place, I'm doing all the work, okay? You're standing here. Gravity's not helping you right now. Gravity's just going down this way. So as soon as you pull this foot up, it wants to take it back down, right? So this is all you right now. When you run, you only pull your foot here. This is it. This is why the hops are the run. Because when you start to fall forward, your body weight is traveling. You're just doing this. Switch, 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 switch. But because the body is traveling, then the foot, once you've pulled it, you're done with it. The hamstring reflex finishes the pull. So the hamstring has a reflexive response. It's innate. We all have it, born with it. It's amazing. We just haven't used it. Unless you've had like someone's, a small kid or a dog take you out before. So start connecting with pull. And I used to do things when I first started like, I don't know, what if I was standing, I think about this, I'm standing here and I go to start walking and I can't, my foot won't come off the ground. You ever stepped in gum? So right, you pull. What am I standing on? It's a really natural response. Or have you ever put your foot down and it's hot? And you're like, woo, that was hot. See, pulling is reflexive. And that the challenge is you guys walk by pushing and most of you run by pushing. And it's powerful, pushing. Push, push, push. This is how most people walk. Hurts me to see it and do it. I walk by pulling my foot off the ground. We want to be nice to the ground. It will be nice to us. If I take my foot and push my body weight into the ground, it just pushes back on me, right? For every action, there's an equal response. So if you're kicking the ground, if you're hitting the ground, if you're thinking about the ground, it's going to hit you back. So when you walk, start to keep your knees bent, hold your shoulders over your hips, and feel how much lighter that is, right? Any direction. So when I'm running, I want to feel up, 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 up. That's why I say up all the time. What direction are we pulling our foot? Up, right? Up, up, up. And the more I get comfortable with that, then I'm going to start thinking of ways to get lighter. How do I get lighter? I get lighter by taking my body weight and throwing it forward. That's the free fall. So here's my body weight, 68% of it. So I'm going to let it go first, and then I pull. So remember the order is pose, fall, pull. So if I'm out running, my legs feel heavy, my knees hurt, I'm probably doing something like this. Correct your pose, right? But practice when you're not running, so that when you're running, you know what you're supposed to be feeling. And that really, really does help. Sorry, someone had a question, but then it went away. You're always welcome to post a question, and I can usually see it. So that was my pull. And it's, I brought this, I'll just show you one more thing. So I put this weight here because my thought was, I don't know if it'll work that great, but if you can feel like I'm holding this with my foot, right? So if I were to lift it with my knee, so this is my knee, you see how there's a lot of tension here in the quad. There's a lot of weight on my foot to have it out in front. So when you pull it, it'd be like if I felt this weight. Well, I don't want that weight. You see what I mean? Get rid of weight. Don't make things harder. So I was just laughing because I see how I moved my other foot really quickly. So anyway, I was laughing at that earlier because it was there, and I thought people want to land so badly or lift with their knee. Well, I can lift with my knee, but I can feel so much tension in my foot, tension in here, versus if I just simply pull my foot, see, I get rid of the weight. Get rid of the weight, unweigh, right? Pulling is about taking body weight away. Start having fun with practice. You see it in all my drills. I hop, I hop, I hop. Why do I hop so much? Because when I run, I want to use elasticity. Save 50% of your muscle. I mean, you can last 50% longer using muscle elasticity. Like, you will not get tired as fast, right? And it seems counterintuitive. Like, and I'm certainly not saying do a bunch of jumps right before you run, right? But if you watch my warm-up one, I always include these. I'm about to go running, so a little bit of ball foot hops. You know, if I'm feeling a little crazy, start pulling in place. Get comfortable with that sensation of up, 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 up. And then you pick your fall point. Most of us practice falling with a wall. Highly recommend it. I trust it. It's not going to drop me. But this plank-like movement, ears, shoulders, hips, fall connected as one unit. See? But you're never going to need to fall this much. Really only need to fall this much. But if I practice falling like really at a high fall, then when you just fall to run, it doesn't feel so crazy. So I love the questions. Keep them coming. I hope that helped. I'll see you next Wednesday. And of course, I'd love to see your run. So if you ever want to come on in the membership, come see us, runrx.fit. Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry, hold on. Yes, it's normal to feel, someone just asked a question. Since I said ask a question. Absolutely, it's more work to implement these techniques. He said, is it more work in the beginning? Yes. The longer you've been running, especially. If I've been running for a long time with different thoughts, different intents, I've been pushing, I've been reaching, I've been doing all kinds of things, then sure. However, isn't it worth it? I mean, you're connecting with how you're supposed to run. Like, people used to talk about natural running, and then they would say, just take your shoes off and go running. Then you just take your shoes off and go running. You didn't do anything to learn. What you should know is that running is the #1 connected exercise for the brain and body. And when you run, you use all of your muscles. They work like in a symphony, all together. And they work with your brain. So practicing running is like a reconnection with your entire body. Take your watch off, take your earphones out, and simply start to feel. When's the last time when you weren't running that you simply fully released yourself to gravity and said, let me just free fall? Probably not since you were a little kid. So it really is reconnecting with both what running's supposed to be, which is true freedom, by the way. Like, watch, you know, everybody's talking about kids. If you and I we were kids and I said, hey, let's race there, we wouldn't be like, let's warm up first. You know, no. So think about what you're learning right now is really to let go. Because if you really did just do nothing but let your body free fall, pull is a natural response. The hamstring already knows how to contract. It's you. You're in the way. You're like, what? You know, like you're thinking. And in the beginning, that's how you're going to feel because you haven't ever been thinking with the running. You've been so stuck on, not you, I don't know you, but the collective runner you, they're always like, my heart rate, my cadence, my distance, my speed, out. We can't correct any of that or help you with it until you understand that you are probably not taking advantage of the free ride that is there for you. 99% of the people that come into my membership How not using gravity or not working as gravity should. Yeah, absolutely. But like, you know, it's not going to take forever. Keep that in mind. Forever practice, in my mind. You can only continue to get better. But once you start to just change the way you think about running, I promise you, it just starts to become your run. That's why I still teach it. I am so impassioned about teaching it because every run I still do, and I've been teaching this now 22 years, I still find that fall point, find that little buzz, find that, there's your runner's high. All right, last question. Yeah. That's a great question. Two good questions. One was, you do show a lot of exercises. That is from a culmination of all the years I've been teaching, but I'm telling you, it stays the same. If you practice pose, fall, pull, then you're running. That's it. And the hops, really all of the drills, guys, are just variations of elasticity. To develop elasticity, I have to do elasticity hops. There's not another way to develop. And so I just love variety. So some people like to jump rope, some people like to do other drills. All of them are really good. You see, that's why it's fun to spice up your warm-up. Like, pick a different drill for your warm-up. Have some fun with it. What doesn't change? The pose itself, right, doesn't change. The fall never changes, and pulling never changes. So I just play around with the elasticity hops. All the drills are to develop your perception, but most of all, your skill, your strength, your elasticity, your ability to continue pulling through your run, right? Your ability to fall, by the way, is always there. I mean, that's not a talent. If you've ever tripped and fallen, can happen anytime. Connecting with gravity and controlling your fall, that's huge talent. And it's a talent that's yours to have. It's not a talent that anyone's going to get because you don't have the opportunity. You have to develop it like a relationship. I saw one more question. Yes, absolutely. What do I think about the easy running belt? Any toy you want to get. It's fun, you know? You want to get the belt, get the bands, you know. None of them are going to teach you how to run. This is what you have to understand. It's like shoes. I can buy really fun shoes. I can buy minimalist shoes. I can buy heavy shoes. Same thing, I can buy bands. I can buy rollers. I can buy all these gadgets, but it will not teach me how to run. But do I like to play with bands and toys? And 100% yes. So get it and have fun with it. Yeah, I mean, the easy belt she's talking about, you put the belts on, I think something around here. And then, you know, it's a skill practice. I do bands all the time. So yeah, play with it. But remember, it's the intent of what I'm trying to learn that's going to make me the better runner. And the reality is the free falling is just you. So yes, play with bands, play with equipment, the drills, you know, have fun with it. The last question was, do your hamstrings in the beginning get very tired? Yes. And why? Because especially if I've been using my hips and my quads and I've not used my hamstrings, then sure, they're going to be talking to you, absolutely. And in the beginning, you can't help it. You're going to overpull. It's completely normal. That's how we learn. We learn by exaggerating and overdoing. So the first time you take this out for your run, you're like, I'm pulling, but I'm also very tired. I did it for a long time. When I first started coaching and teaching myself, I was like, I'm going to win the pulling contest. I mean, not really, but that's what I looked like. I looked like I was like, I'm pulling, not going anywhere, but I'm pulling. So remember that practice is for that purpose. So yes, in the beginning, for sure, you're just even never have pulled before, you're going to feel the hamstring. But during running, this is the beauty of it. I'm only using 10% active muscle. Which muscle? The hamstring. So this is a huge conversation because if I finish my run and I feel my hamstrings, I would say to you two things, especially if you're newer. One is, yay, I used my hamstrings. See? First conversation. The second conversation is, I must have pulled a little too high. So that's okay. At least you know I used my hamstrings. See, that's important. But realize I'm not supposed to feel them because I don't want to use active muscle contraction. So that means I was running like this, okay? Which again will be very tiring and you really can't continue for very long. The other thing was, but just, you know, What do I do if I work a muscle a lot and I feel soreness in it? Give it some self-care. We've got tons of self-care tips free on that YouTube channel. I'm not kidding. There are some great hamstring releases. I would check it out. If I'm feeling pain in my calves, you're pushing. If you've got calf pain, bend your knees. Bend your knees, okay? If you've got shin pain, IT band outside of my knee. This is from pulling and then putting the foot down. So you're doing both. You're like, and that heavy landing is just really hard on the joint, especially this guy, you don't have a lot of shin. So unfortunately the shin gets the brunt and then the knee and the hip take it. But if I stay here, 50% reduction of impact. So remember, if I'm feeling muscle soreness, I always say I'd rather feel muscle soreness than joints. I'd rather my calf or hamstring be tight than my knee or my hip. You know what I mean? So at least you know in the beginning, okay, if I'm over pulling, I'm gonna feel my hamstrings. If I feel my calves, I'm probably bending. So you're already getting cues on things you can correct. So if you're out running, you're like, man, my legs are heavy. Well, you're kicking. Bend your knees and pull, right? And be okay with stopping and resetting. That's the other fun thing with the drill, is that I can stop, maybe do a few hops, get back, you know, and make sure when you're running, where am I falling to? Find a fall point. You've got your eyes and your eyes, because this leads to fall. Gravity acts here, but you've got to bring 68% with you. Like, it's your job to bring the ears and the hips. So as you're falling, make sure they come with you, and you're not leading with your head or neck, and you're not leaving it behind, okay? Hey, great questions today, guys. And keep asking. You're welcome to always post here, comments, and ask questions. This will actually get posted also on the Instagram. You can ask questions. You can email us anytime. Get on the website and let's see what we got. Take the quiz if you haven't. Get on the YouTube channel, like I said. But keep the questions coming. Love the conversation. Have a great run. Thank you.